first general question I'd like to ask actually leads on from that quite nicely. It kind of requires a leap of imagination, if you like. Tim, if you could answer first, then Robert, then Peter, that would be great. The question is, what will the transition from now to a sustainable economy be like? Who needs to make which decisions, in what order? Who are the short, medium-term winners and losers? And who needs to be engaged in those decisions?
Forget that. That's an easy question to answer. I mean, it could be a rocky ride. I think there are clearly people who have vested interests in not making the changes that are needed, but there are also a set of people who do stand to win from it. So actually looking at how those conversations play out through something like the negotiations at Copenhagen is absolutely fascinating if there weren't so much at stake. I think there's no simple answer to that question. The only bit of it that's simple to answer is the last bit, who should be engaged, and it's quite clear that everybody should, that there are multiple levels of engagement. I absolutely agree with the other guys when they say that grassroots change is important, that those who are, that there is really something different going on at that level. But I also fundamentally believe that governance still matters, that it matters for policymakers to be engaging with these issues. That in some ways was what motivated Prosperity Without Growth in the first place, was to say, let's build the political space to have this conversation, because it's probably the most important conversation of the time. And building on that space, then it's about the nitty-gritty. It's about getting those changes in place. Lots of things that Peter's discussed that are in Prosperity Without Growth, all of the operational stuff, getting down and dirty with that is absolutely vital. There is no simple answer. There may not be a very comfortable path, but that cannot dissuade us from setting out on it, because there doesn't seem to be another option.
Yes, I agree. There's no real way to answer that question. We don't know how it's going to unfold, but I will only make one point, and that's that these kinds of cultural changes rapid cultural changes have happened. The Soviet Union, the apartheid in South Africa, etc. We have some precedent, but I think what we can expect is that there will be some sort of tipping point that we pass. That there's a long period of a change going on beneath the surface, and that eventually some critical mass tipping point is reached, and things seem to change almost overnight. So we shouldn't be discouraged that things are not changing. They don't seem to be changing at all, because I think underneath there is this ongoing change, and eventually we'll reach that point. Whether that is going to take a significant crisis to unfold, a significant collapse or mini collapse, what will it take? What will happen? I'm not really sure. But I think we can try to pave the ground, as much as we can, and provide visions for this space for people to change that are not for the surface, so we don't have to, collapse this and build it again from the ashes, so we can have a smoother transition. We're all trying to do with what we've described here today.
Thank you, Peter.
Well, I'll try and answer this very important question in a simple way. Look, I do think measures of success really do matter a lot. That's why some of us are sort of attacking growth, because it is the primary measure of success that we seem to gear so many other decisions towards. But I think measures of success and definitions of success have to be revisited not just at the sort of global and national level, but at community level and your own personal level. So I think that the transition will entail a redefinition of success that's much broader than just the folks involved in this event today. Second thing is, just to reiterate something I did say earlier, I do think limits have to be a big part of the transition, and we're groping our way towards limits. So I live by the Great Lakes, and we imposed a limit some years ago that toxics would be eliminated from disposal into the Great Lakes, and that's been pretty effective. The Copenhagen discussions was all about limits. The Montreal Protocol about limits. So I think that's we're moving in that direction. We've got to be more thoughtful and more comprehensive about it. And finally, I think, and I'll go back to something that Bob said. I think energy is going to play a central role in this. I do think that the fossil age will be short-lived. It's hard to know exactly where we are on the old Hubbard curve, but very few people argue against a peak, and it's a peak actually in all fossil fuels at different stages, not just oil. And so we are, like it or not, going to have to make a transition away from fossil fuel energy, and that's going to involve everybody. Some people will be gored in the process, and they will resist this as we see them doing that. But I think if that's where the real action is going to be centered.